In 1990, Martin Scorsese unleashed a film that would redefine the gangster genre forever. Goodfellas wasn't just another mob movie. It was a feverish, cocaine-fueled sprint through 3 decades of mafia life that left audiences breathless and cinema forever changed. But what if I told you the most shocking stories happened behind the camera? Today, we're revealing what Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, and Lorraine Bracco have kept hidden for decades. The real-life gangsters who visited the set daily. The improvised lines that terrified even hardened crew members. The scenes so realistic that FBI agents questioned the filmmakers. And the chilling moment when the actual mobsters portrayed in the film attended the premiere, sitting rows away from the actors playing them. You think you know Goodfellas? The cast has finally broken their silence about what really happened during the making of this masterpiece. From the actor who received genuine death threats to the infamous scene that required a record-breaking 75 takes, this wasn't just filmmaking. It was a dangerous dance on the razor's edge between Hollywood and the actual criminal underworld. Martin Scorsese himself has admitted, "There were days I wasn't sure if we were making a movie about the mob or making it with them." After today's revelations, you'll understand exactly what he meant, and you'll never watch Goodfellas the same way again. Before Goodfellas became a cinematic landmark, it was Wise Guy, Nicholas Pileggi's explosive 1985 nonfiction book chronicling the life of Henry Hill. The journey from page to screen nearly derailed multiple times, almost robbing us of a masterpiece. I refused to read it, Scorsese admits. After Mean Streets and Raging Bull, I was done with crime films. He didn't even open the book when his agent sent it. Months passed, the book collected dust. Then fate intervened. I was at a low point, Scorsese recalls. A big studio project had fallen apart. I picked up Wise Guy out of desperation and called Pileggi at 2 a.m. All I said was, "I've been waiting for this book my whole life." He thought I was a lunatic. Pileggi responded, "I've been waiting for your call my whole life." Their collaboration faced immediate resistance. Every studio passed initially. Producer Irwin Winkler reveals, "Too violent, too morally ambiguous. No clear hero. Where's the redemption? Where's the punishment?" We said that's exactly the point. Warner Brothers finally greenlit the project, but with major concerns. They worried about legal issues. As Scorsese explains, "We were portraying real criminals, many still alive, some in witness protection. The studio lawyers nearly shut us down weekly." The solution was to change names, alter timelines, and merge characters. But even that created problems. Henry Hill was contractually forbidden from visiting the set since he was in witness protection, but he snuck on anyway, multiple times. He couldn't resist seeing his life recreated, Pileggi says. The script evolved through intense, unorthodox collaboration. "Scorsese and I worked like maniacs," Pileggi recalls. 15-hour days. "I'd tell stories from my research. Marty would pace, interrupting. That's a scene. That's a scene." We structured the film almost like a documentary with narrative elements woven through. Ray Liotta, cast as Hill, faced his own strange journey. "I stalked Scorsese," he laughs. "Approached him in a restaurant, then at a film festival. Almost got arrested the 3rd time. But I knew I was Henry. Knew it in my bones." The studio pushed for established stars like Tom Cruise or Alec Baldwin. But casting director Ellen Lewis reveals, Marty held firm on Ray. He said Ray had the right combination, charm masking danger, intelligence behind the eyes. The studio compromised only because they had De Niro and Pesci. De Niro's commitment bordered on obsession. Bob called the real Jimmy Burke, renamed Jimmy Conway in the film. In prison, Pileggi recalls, guards stopped the call once they realized who it was. Federal crime to communicate with certain prisoners. Bob didn't care. He was researching. The authenticity came at a price. "We had technical advisors who wouldn't give their real names," Scorsese reveals. Men who'd been connected, explaining details only insiders would know. How money flowed, how to slice garlic with a razor, how to pistol whip without leaving marks. These weren't things you could research in books. The most disturbing part was the vetting process. Certain scenes were sent to people connected to the actual crew portrayed in the film, Pileggi says carefully. Changes came back, no explanations, just "this didn't happen this way." We made the changes, didn't ask questions. The film's fragmented, paranoid style emerged from that raw authenticity. We weren't making another glossy mob film, Scorsese explains. We were making a documentary about someone who happened to be a gangster. As production continued, the cast began to realize the risks. We were portraying men who killed for far less than a negative portrayal in a film, Liotta says quietly. There was no security on set. Anyone could walk in. It wasn't like today. I started checking under my car before driving home. The book that Scorsese almost never read would soon become the film he was born to make, but the dangers were only beginning. Funny how. 2 words that changed cinema forever, and they were never in the script. That scene, Ray Liotta says, eyes widening at the memory, wasn't what we rehearsed. Not even close. The famous exchange where Tommy, Joe Pesci, turns from laughing to terrifying in seconds came from Pesci's real life. Joe told us a story during rehearsal, Scorsese reveals. As a young man working in a restaurant, he once told a mobster he was funny. The guy didn't take it as a compliment. The air changed. Joe thought he might die right there. That's the scene. Rather than write it out, Scorsese had Pesci and Liotta improvise. We didn't tell the other actors what was coming, Liotta confirms. Their nervous laughter, the tension, that's all genuine. This became the film's guiding principle. Lorraine Bracco recalls. Marty would whisper different directions to each actor before a scene. I'd get one instruction, Ray another. Completely contradictory. The confusion and tension, that's what he wanted. Improvisation extended to violence. The scene where Tommy pistol whips the restaurant owner? We had it choreographed, Scorsese says. Then Joe asked, can I just go with it? 1 take. No rehearsal. What you see is real shock on everyone's faces. Script supervisor Dina Allen called it, like documenting a hurricane. Even the iconic Layla montage of corpses was invented in editing. We restructured the entire middle of the film, editor Thelma Schoonmaker says. It became about the cost of that lifestyle. Liotta's Final Day of Freedom sequence was barely scripted. I wanted it to feel like we were inside Henry's cocaine psychosis, Scorsese explains. The helicopter shots, rapid edits, and sound design were all created to mimic paranoia. I stayed awake for days, Liotta admits. Not on drugs, just no sleep. By the end, I was hallucinating between takes. Even Bracco's gun scene was improvised. Ray's fear was real. I clicked the gun when I wasn't supposed to. His reaction, that's what you see on screen. Behind the camera, real gangsters were watching. Assistant director Joseph Reedy recalls, they would just show up. No names. No purpose. Watch a scene, nod, sometimes suggest small changes.